This video is sponsored by Eagle Woodworking. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the kitchen project. Today we're going to take a close look at our very fancy new kitchen drawers. Let's get right into it. Soft close. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, right here in front of me, all lit up by the nice morning sunshine, is my entire kitchen worth of drawers. Like I mentioned in the intro, this video is sponsored by Eagle Woodworking, and they made every one of these to my specifications. And that process actually started with me going to their website and filling out the form for this whole thing. It's a very, very easy form. You just measure your face frames, and then you go to their calculator, and then you type that information in, and it spits out another number, and it says, this is the size drawer you actually need. Then you enter that into the order form, click some check boxes, and hit submit. And it took a day for them to reply and say, here's the estimate, here's what it looks like. And then it was just a matter of hitting approve and getting the process started. And what was really interesting to me is that from approval to delivery was exactly 3 weeks. And that 3 weeks happened to also go over Thanksgiving. So when a lot of people are trying not to be at work, or when shipping is hard to get accomplished, it only took 3 weeks from submit order for them to build, finish, package, ship, and the shipping company to deliver it here. And by the way, this has nothing to do with Eagle Woodworking, but the delivery guy that actually brought it to me, he was an expert. I've had, I don't know, a dozen or so semis come down my driveway in the last couple of years, and they all have to do a 37-point turn to get whipped around and back out the driveway. And this guy, just like a wizard, came flying down it, did a U-turn in one move, just turned around by turning the steering wheel, surprise, and then backed up to the door and threw everything out, and we had it unloaded and into the garage so fast. It's like, this guy's got experience. I like this guy. But anyway, unpacked the pallet, brought it all in here so it could all warm up, and now it's time to get these put into the kitchen. But before we do that, I want to take a quick look at what these actually are. The original plan, if you remember back to a few videos ago, you could see that I already have side-mounted drawer slides in all of my cabinets because I was going to build them myself, and that was going to be a cheaper option to have those side-mounted slides. But if I were going to build these myself, I was going to do it entirely out of plywood, and then the last finishing step would be to take the plywood edge that's sticking up and just put a piece of, nice-looking trim that matches the hackberry cabinets on the side to hide the plies. And I've done that in the past, and it works just fine, but these are so much nicer. This is all solid maple. They finished it for me. We've got tongue and groove joinery. We've got tongue and groove joinery, so it looks really nice. I'm not hiding anything. I want to see these because they're so nice. And then they also have the notches and the holes cut out for the new slides that we're going to use. So because these are so nice, we are abandoning the side mount slides, and we're going with soft closed undermount slides. So the slides themselves look a fair bit bigger, but once they're actually installed and mounted and everything, you never see any of this. It's just completely invisible. But part of the way this works is it has to fit in that notch, and then that pin goes into that hole, and this is all pre-done and ready to go for me, so I just have to throw this in the cabinets, and then the box gets a clip on either side. There's a left and a right, so this isn't the right one here, but there's a left and a right, and then I just go and drop it in and push it closed, and we're good to go. So it's going to be much fancier hardware with a much fancier drawer than what I was actually going to put into it. The other thing that Eagle Woodworking does is you can buy your drawers with all sorts of different organizers built into them. So rather than having an insert, you buy it pre-organized, essentially. In our situation, I didn't have a need for any of those options, but the one thing we did pick out was this fancy double drawer. So when this actually gets mounted in there and you slide it out, now it's out into the world and you have access to this little drawer, but then you can push that back into the cabinet at that point and access the lower part of it. So it makes this deep drawer two-tiered, and Katie really wanted that. That has a very specific purpose in her mind. So lots of cool options. The other thing about these drawers that I was concerned about from the ordering process was Most of the material options are 1/2 inch thickness and 1/4 inch bottoms. And some of these are massive drawers, and we're going to put all of our pots and pans and some really heavy stuff in them. So I was a little concerned about it being maybe too flimsy. So I reached out to them and asked specifically, what should I do here? What are my options here? Do you do any other thicknesses? And in the ordering process, you can get thicker sides, a thicker bottom. And they said, please don't do that. Unless you absolutely believe you have to, don't do that. The material that we use is so strong, and I'm talking about the 1/4 inch bottom more than anything, that your rails will fail before the drawer boxes themselves. And they said, I mean, come on. I realize that, yeah, there's some strength there, but can that really be real? And they said, check out the video on our Instagram page. We have people jumping on those bottoms and they don't break. And so they actually sent me one to test. Extra drawer, so I don't accidentally damage any of my other stuff, but if I can't jump through that, my pots and pans certainly aren't going to break that. But that is enough about the drawers. We need to install all of those clips to the bottom sides of all of these, get inside, uninstall all of the side mount slides so we can put in the nice ones and get this in place and see how this kitchen's going to come together. All right, all of the slides are put in all the way around the kitchen. The only thing left to do is to actually put the drawers in place and see if everything fits the way it's supposed to. Katie's been back here putting some blue tape temporary drawer pulls on there because once they get in, it's going to get really hard to slide them back out until after we do permanent drawer fronts and drawer pulls. So this will be really helpful in the meantime. But all we do is we pull the slides out, set the drawer on it, and then I like to slide this slide out independently of the other one, and there's a click. Could you hear the click? Do this side. There's the click. And then give it a shove and watch it close itself. Piece of pie? Cake? I guess cake. Be a little less aggressive. So, that appears to be a drawer. Let's get the rest of them going. Just kind of set it on there for a second. Slide out and click. That click is the sound of the runner engaging the clips here at the top, at the front, I guess. And what do you know? They all fit exactly the way they're supposed to. How great is that? Let's see, I got a straight edge here somewhere. I don't have my 4-foot level in here, so this isn't proving the entire point. But if I put this across here, I want to be able to slide a dollar bill behind my straight edge in that drawer. I'd rather have the faces, the drawer fronts, contact the face frame ever so slightly than to have this run out of travel and keep it set out a little bit. So if I go this way from across the face frame, we don't touch there, we don't touch there, we don't touch there. And that was an issue of me. This one actually does touch, but it's not pushing this out. That's an issue of my placement of where those slides are front to back on here. Putting it far enough back keeps me where I want to be. And then in a future video, I'm going to have to build the drawer fronts. The other thing it could be is maybe my face frame has a bow in it. That's kind of hard to fix at this point. But when I build the drawer fronts, we'll come back and we will look at the adjustment. So there's some adjustment built into these clips. This slide right here, and there's one on each side, will actually raise and lower that drawer front in relation to the ones around it so you can get your gaps correct, or Maybe you bolted it on funny, because I'll end up bolting it straight through the front of this drawer. Maybe I'll have it cockeyed a little bit when I do it. You can use that to level it back out and get your spacing right and make it look really nice. And then there's a dial on these as well, and that adjusts. That's harder for me to explain. I understand it, but to demonstrate it with my DJ hands, that's a little bit more difficult. So that'll be something we do in a future video. But at the moment, I'm going to put the rest of the drawers in and see how they all look. All right, real quick interjection here. I just wanted to show you what my drawers would have looked like if I actually built them. We're down in the man cave, which I referenced before, and this is what my drawers look like. This is just 1/2-inch plywood and a 1/4-inch bottom, and then I take and kind of laminate a strip across the top. So you don't see this plywood edge sticking out the top. It looks a little bit nicer than it would, but it's not, I mean, it's just sort of brad nailed together. There's just nothing particularly fancy about this. It works. It's not great. The joinery on the Eagle woodworking drawers is way better. I misspoke earlier. I think I called it tongue and groove. I've got a brain thing where I don't understand the names of joinery sometimes. It's actually dovetail joinery, which is way, way prettier than what this is. So we're back in the kitchen. All of the drawers are in. Everything fits exactly the way it was supposed to. All of the runners move the way they're supposed to. I am really, really impressed with the quality, the fit, the finish, and how easy the whole process actually was. But Katie's the one we have to impress, so what do you think? How are your drawers?
I'm so excited to have drawers. As you can kind of see behind us, I've already filled the cupboards, so I am ready to move into the drawers. As far as the install goes, it was super easy. Mark did the hard parts, but then I put the drawers on and snapped them in. I already started filling some of the drawers.
She was putting stuff in drawers while I was still mounting slides.
Yeah. And the boxes themselves, the drawers themselves, are absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Mark has been teasing me that we're just going to leave them as is. He kind of likes the two-tone.
Three-tone. I like the blue handles.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so eventually we'll get faces on, but for now they are functional with our little tape tabs. Like I said, I've moved into some of the drawers, but I do have some storage solutions that we'll look at in the next video. And so I have tried to hold myself back, show a little bit of restraint, and then I'll get into that in the next video. We did order one specialty drawer, and it's this one that has a second drawer in it. And this is exactly what I wanted it to be like. With these deep drawers and these shallow products, I knew I would need some sort of tiered access to them. So this was absolutely perfect. I'm very excited. The boxes, the drawers themselves are absolutely huge. We have 4 units that are 36 inches wide, and those drawers are gigantic considering where we came from. It's just so much space, and I'm just really excited to get moved in.
So that's going to wrap this one up. Huge thank you to Eagle Woodworking. You should definitely go check them out. There's going to be a link down in the description. They're fantastic to work with. I've had a great experience, and it was one I wasn't expecting to have at all. They reached out to me, and we made this whole thing work. So thank you guys. Thanks, Eagle Woodworking, and we'll see you again in the next video.
Bye.
Yeah, that turned out pretty well.